Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Coach Matt, EliteThrowsCoaching.com, coming to you today to talk about my favorite throwing event, the discus. And I'm using this Nelco Challenger discus to demonstrate not just how to hold the discus, which is something that people always have questions on, but also how to get this thing to release correctly off of your finger. So we're going to go through this and give you some really good ideas and some hints and some tips, because even though we are about, what are we now, 5 weeks into the season, a little bit more, well, just about halfway through the season for most of us out there, some people are still having trouble getting this thing to come off of their finger and holding it correctly. So we're going to go through that for you right now. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about discus size, because there are always questions every year about what size discus someone should be using. Usually it's a parent or a brand new coach that emails me and says, I want to buy something for my daughter, I want to buy something for my son. What size discus should I get him? Does it matter? Are they all the same size? Is one bigger than the other? Is one thicker than the other? They really don't understand sizes, okay? So in the United States, for my international people, we're talking about the United States, there are 3 main sizes of discuses. And yes, it's discuses, not disci. 3 main sizes of discuses. There is the 1 kilogram discus. 1 kilogram discus is going to be used in middle school for girls and boys. It's going to be used in high school for girls, college for girls, and then post-collegiately, that's national level competitions, international competitions, Olympics, world championships, things like that. Girls and women are going to use the 1 kilogram discus. It never changes. The 1.6 kilogram discus, that is only for boys high school. You will not see that used in any other league. You will not see that used at any other age. You will not see that used internationally for high school aged boys. It's only for United States high school boys use that 1.61 kilogram discus. I don't know why. It's got to be some type of rule that they put forth many decades ago. It's been a 1.6 now for quite a while. The 2 kilogram discus, that starts at collegiate men and then goes beyond that. So collegiate men will use the 2 kilogram discus. Then post-collegiately in international meets, Olympics, national championships, you're going to use the 2 kilogram discus. And I believe you use the 2 kilogram discus all the way up until you are 50 years old as a master's track and field thrower. You're going to use the 2 kilo. All right. Now, each discus is the same size. So all 1 kilogram discuses, all 1.6 kilogram discuses, and all 2 kilogram discuses have to fall within certain size and weight parameters. So the overall diameter of the discus is between a certain size. There's a parameter, and it's really a minimal difference in size. Same thing goes with the thickness of the rim. They have to be between a certain thickness, plus or minus a little bit. The thickness of the overall discus itself, if it was sitting on a table, the height of the discus needs to be between a certain size. And the weight, they cannot be under 1.6 kilogram or cannot be under 2 kilos or 1 kilo, and they cannot be heavier by a certain amount as well. So they're all going to fall within the same diameter, the same rim thickness. They're all pretty much going to be the same. Now, different brands are going to try to go to one side of that tolerance or the other. So if you were to buy something like a Nelco discus, these are very well made, precision made discuses. They're assembled really well. They're put together really well. They're super durable. If you were to take a very accurate scale and put a 2 kilogram discus on that scale, it's probably going to be 2 kilograms on the button or just a little over 2 kilograms. So 2.02 kilograms, 2.05 kilograms. You're not going to have it, just put it on a scale and have it be, 2.5 kilograms. These are made, precision made, engineered to be within the specifications of the rule books. The discus is not like a cast iron shot put. A cast iron shot put is just a blob of metal that they put into a sand casting, and then when it's dried or when it cools off, not dried, what am I talking about? When it cools off, they take it out of the sand and you got a blob of metal. That blob of metal might be 11.95. That blob of metal might be 12.05, 12.2, 12.6, who knows, because it's a blob of cast iron. The more heavily machined, the more precision these guys are made, the better they are going to be. So when you purchase a discus, you have to look at things like, for example, the distance rating. Like on these Nelco discs, they actually have a distance rating stamped on them. Sometimes it's rim weight. For other manufacturers out there, you want to look at rim weight percentage. The more expensive the discus does not mean you are going to throw it farther. If anything, if you are just starting out, a more expensive discus is not going to fly as far because the rim weight is too heavy and because you're not able to put enough spin on that discus to take advantage of the heavier rim weight percentage. All right, now that all that stuff's out of the way, let's talk about the discus and let's talk about how to actually hold this thing in your hand. Okay, so the discus, what I like to do is I like to teach my new athletes to take a look at the discus just like it's a clock. So if you were to look at a clock hanging on the wall, you've got 12 o'clock at the very top, 6 o'clock at the very bottom. And then you want to imagine that there's a line going right down the middle of that discus. So you have sort of a left half of the discus and a right half of the discus, okay? And when you hold on to the discus, one of the most common problems that newer throwers have is they go, I can't get it to come off my first finger. It always comes off my ring finger, or it comes off my middle finger, or it rolls out the back of my hand. Well, the reason why this happens a lot of times, really squeaky chair. Reason why this happens a lot of times is you take the discus, and a lot of times athletes just take their hand and go and slap their hand on top. Well, where's 12 o'clock? 12 o'clock right now is right in between my middle finger and my ring finger. So slapping your hand right on top of the discus like that, where do you think it's going to come off? Well, if the top of the discus is between these two fingers right here, of course it's going to come off those two fingers because that's the very top of the discus. What we want to look at is taking your finger, and I want to see you, even if you put both fingers together, I like to have my fingers kind of evenly spread apart, comfortably spread apart. Some coaches teach to put both fingers together. We're going to talk about that in a second. I want to try to get my fingers close to 12 o'clock. So you might not feel good. I have really, really big hands. You might not feel good putting that first finger right at 12 o'clock. So maybe you're going to go just a little bit left of 12 o'clock. But no matter what you do, you want to try to get a majority of the discus. It's a dry erase marker, so there you go. Want to get the majority of the discus outside of the hand. You don't want to have your hand right in the middle. You kind of want to start with that discus kind of coming out the side of the hand with your first finger or your middle finger very, very close to 12 o'clock. That's all but going to ensure that when you do release this thing, if that finger's at 12, it's going to come off of the finger correctly. You already have a majority, probably 40 to 50% of the weight of the discus outside of your hand already. So the tendency is that if it's already there, it's going to just want to rotate out that way. If you have it here, you might rotate out the back, you might rotate off, throw it off the middle, throw it off the ring. So don't just slap your hand on top of it. Make sure that you're actually getting that first finger close to 12 o'clock. Okay, so then the next question becomes, where on your finger, where does the discus get released off of? So I want to show you real quick. If a thrower starts working with me and they're complaining that their finger has blisters on it, that their finger's bleeding, that it hurts when they release the discus, I always ask them, I said, show me where it hurts on your finger. And a lot of times what you see is there hurts right on the side of the finger, right on that pad, right on the soft spot of the finger. And I oftentimes have to tell them, I go, where are you releasing it from? And what they'll do is they'll take the discus and they'll put the discus in their hands and they barely have their finger over the rim of that discus. They're kind of flat handing it like this. They barely have their fingertips over the top, and it's spinning right off of the soft, meaty part of their finger. That's not really where you want it to go off of. Ideally, where I want to see my throwers let go of the discus is down here, right in the knuckle. Okay, so I don't want to see it off of the fingertip. I don't want to see it somewhere in between. I want to see it right back here, right in that knuckle. So, how do you teach this? Well, you want to take the discus and you want to put your finger right over the top of the discus. Now, if I turn this way, you can see the mark that I made on my finger? It's right on top of the discus. I know, extreme close-up, sorry. It's right on top of the discus. And when the discus rolls off of your finger, it's going to roll off of that side of your finger. It's not going to roll off the middle of that top part. It's not going to roll off the very top. It's going to roll off right off the side of that knuckle. So we're not going to kind of try to push sideways like this. We're not going to go off of the very tip. We're going to go right in the bend of that knuckle. So when I hold a discus, I'm trying to get the very, very top of the knuckle right up against the discus with the hand nice and flat. And again, on the other side, on the right side, right of 12 o'clock. Okay, we want to hold that guy right there. We're going to open up and spread the rest of the fingers so that the knuckles are coming over the top. I want the thumb on one side, okay? And I want half of the discus, okay? So if I did it this way, half of the discus is going to already be out of my hand. I don't want to take my fingers and kind of slap them right on top like this. I want 12 o'clock, and I want the rest of my knuckles on that discus wrapped over the top of that discus. A great way of teaching your athletes how to do this is to have your athlete put their hand on top of the discus like this. And then you're going to have your hand underneath it like this. And they're going to pull one way, and you're going to pull the other way. And as you pull, they're not going to let go of it because you're pulling one way. So you're pulling one way, they're pulling the other. And look what's happening. It's not slipping out of their hands. They're not doing this. And this is what they'll do. You'll start to pull. You'll pull it away from them. You go, hang on to it. Hang on to it. Hang on to it. Put your fingers over the top. Now, hang on to it. Pull, 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 pull. See how it's not falling off the finger? It's because you've got your knuckles over the top. That's how you teach somebody how to hold a discus. Get their knuckles over the top and try to pull it away from them. If you're trying to pull it away and they're trying to pull it toward them, they're going to feel instantly how the knuckle is what keeps their hand. Not here, you're going to pull it right out. Not halfway down, you're going to pull it right out. Get the knuckle over the top, pull it away from them, and they're going to hang right on tight, and you won't be able to pull it away from them. They'll be holding on to you, pulling that discus. All right, everybody, thank you so much for checking out the video. As you can see, the dry erase marker is coming right off of the discus. It's not leaving any marks at all, so you can do this with a dry erase marker with your athletes and get them doing it correctly. Nelco discuses are my favorites. I carry them on my website. This is not sponsored by Nelco. This video, I'm not getting paid to do this by Nelco. This is just kind of my personal preference. These discuses have held up excellent, and you can go right to the website to get your discuses with free shipping within the continental United States. They ship right from Nelco down in Dallas, Texas, but you can buy them right on EliteThrowsCoaching.com. Just click the discus on the homepage and you'll go right to all the Nelco equipment. All right, that's what I got for you today. I hope this solves a lot of questions on how to actually hold on to this thing. It can be tricky. Sometimes just having the confidence, holding it correctly is what it really takes for athletes to believe that they are able to throw this thing farther if it's coming off the hand weird, if it's coming off the hand with the wrong spin, if it's coming off the hand and it's wobbly, if their fingers hurt, if they're getting blisters on the very, very tip of their finger, it's not going to be pleasant throwing a discus. So if you get them holding it correctly, if you get the correct discus in their hand, if you place it properly from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the middle of that discus, they are going to throw it better, they're going to get more confidence, and they're going to enjoy doing the event more than they do now. All right, thank you so much for checking out the video. As always, please click that subscribe button right down there. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. That way, whenever a new video comes out, you'll be one of the first people to see it. All right, thanks a lot for checking out the video. All this stuff that just popped up, please click on that as well, because that's going to help you out and get you throwing farther. Thanks a lot. Talk to you all real soon.